Watching Ruck and Roll Rugby, and man, how good has this guy been? The big thing for me with Rieko Ioane is the way that he's improved over the years and how he's made a name for himself. I recall when he just got onto the scene, he would often, make silly mistakes, play with one hand, knock balls on. He was a bit maybe too, razzle-dazzle, flamboyant. I don't know what to use, but he was a bit loose with his handling, and he was amazing from the start. Really fast, great skill, but he's definitely improved in that moving from wing into the center position, and is seen as one of the best centers in the world. Definitely the fastest. Let's get into it.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Apologies for not having Jipper here, your number one fan.
Yeah. My guy.
He would have exploded on set if he had actually been here, but
Nah, all good. Definitely looking forward to it. I'm gutted Jip's not here. Sabbatical, is he?
Yeah, mate, you could arguably, if you had your career, one of the best wingers in the world. But obviously you played centre at Auckland Grammar, you came through the age grade playing that position. How have you found the last 24 months? Because you've obviously played there a lot now. That's kind of you're seen as the centre. What's been happening around the last 24 months? We're getting the best version of Rico now?
Yeah, I think probably sort of when I first started playing centre, I guess, there was still a bit of chop and change around that wing role, and even, having to cover it late in games. And now, obviously still having the ability to do that, but I've been able to focus, and coaches now, aren't sort of seeing me as that wing centre. It's centre first, and so I think that's probably helped. I've got time in the saddle in the teams that I've played for, and more so just the belief and sort of trust in them, and sort of, because I've always believed in myself and my game at 13, and it's just a matter of sort of other people, the coaches seeing that. So
and playing, getting yourself, it's very hard because there's a lot of wings out there that you already have to be competitive with, just to get the wing position, I guess, for the All Blacks, and then being able to transition into a center position, and the coach is taking you seriously enough to keep playing yourself there, or playing you in that position. You need to show them that you can be that specialized center, because a lot of wings just cannot be centers. They just don't have the skill. And he's definitely been able to do that.
That's probably the big part. And then, I've had the sort of the goats of the midfield to work with throughout my time. I've had Tana,
good point.
Sunny, Scucks for a bit at the Blues.
I mean, if you just talk there about Tana Umanga, and I mean, wow, one of the best centers ever. I forgot that this guy, started playing when these guys were still playing, and I'm sure he's learned a lot from these players, because, I mean, the All Blacks have produced some amazing centers, especially that era. Tana Umanga, Sonny Bill Williams. There's been quite a few over the years that's come in, and so it's got to be said that he's done superbly well to kind of transfer and learn and absorb from all those guys, and kind of put it into his game.
So, those three in particular, for a 13, and a sort of that's trying to establish himself. Those three, you can't look past, and they've helped me each in their own special way.
You've got your speed. I think your distribution has come a long way. You're right now, I think you're one of the best distributors in the world. Is there anything in particular that you're trying to hone your craft in to be the best in the world at?
I need to get on the coaching. Stuff.
That's what I mean. That's what we're talking about, mate. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, look, obviously there's always areas that you can get better at, and you sort of, defensive tendencies are a big one, and they're sort of, when you get into big moments or fatigue moments, that's where sort of your habits need to come into. So it's more that stuff. It's not too many big things, although there is big parts of my game that I probably could work on. For me, it's about fine-tuning those, instinctive moments. So it's not to tuck and carry. It's now to draw and pass, or it is to, it's a slide and push and defense, rather than just, rush up and jam. And it's getting more of those moments correct then not. So that's the way I see it. It's those little moments.
So you can see there, you know, how his game's evolved. He's not as much even concerned about the distribution part anymore. It's further than that. Looking at the way he can defend, like he says, you know, when to move into the line to kind of push for the fence, and, you know, obviously knowing when to sit back. That's probably the toughest part being a centre back, is knowing when to push the defense and knowing when to sit back and just kind of drift it out to try and push the defense out, which is a great skill to have. And I mean, he's been pretty good at it.
Now becoming free flowing, because you know, the centres that have gone before me, they've helped the game flow, and you know, the impacts, although it might not be runaway tries or whatever, you know, they've helped linking. You know, they've made all their tackles. They've done their core roles really well, and I want to be able to do sort of that with what the flavour I bring to.
Yeah, and what I have to say is that, you know, for him, being the guy who probably wanted the ball always, being as fast as he is, going into that, wanting to go into that centre position is interesting to me, because there you're more of a distributor. Yes, you can get your opportunities when a game opens up, but for the most part, you know, one thing that's big about All Black rugby is distributing the ball, getting it out to those wings, but also drawing your man, which he has definitely, you know, improved leaps and bounds.
I look at the try against Argentina, the line that you ran for Damien McKinnon, not Damien's try. Who ended up scoring that?
Bowden.
Yeah, Bowden scored that again. I mean, those are your lines with obviously Jordy and doing the selfless act that you're talking about. Do you find that, you know, working with Jordy now and getting that combination, you've gone through with David Havili a little bit, but you feel like you're getting the momentum and the mojo with working with Jordy? Yeah,
I think it is, and it's, you know, I felt that similar. Davey and I were gelling quite well before he got injured, and, you know, it's a matter of I've had, you know, a couple games now on the trot with Jordy, and you know, seeing what he brings, and sort of him bringing his best game to our back line, and me also bringing mine is what we've probably struggled with. You know, we both want the ball, and but now it's about how we can control, you know, both of our, like I talked about, you know, our natural instincts are to carry, and now it's how we complement the back line, which is, I think, in a really nice spot. And
and that's the thing. I think Jordy Barrett's a good carrier of the ball, really, really good. I mean, Jordy is such a good carrier of the ball, that I think always having a guy like Rieko Ioane, I don't even think he always realizes how often he's running off of his shoulder, and maybe that's also creating a lot of opportunities for Ioane. I like the Jordy Ioane, you know, centre combination more than any other that I've seen in the last, say, 2.5 years. For Jordy Barrett, since he's moved pretty much from fullback in there, I like that, because from an All Black perspective, it also gives you that opportunity that if your flyer's under pressure, you know, you still got your centres that can do the kicking, and even just a little, having that kind of vision to know when to just dab those little grubbers through for Rieko Ioane to chase, which is, it's very valuable.
Like I said, those selfless acts pay huge.
So there's just a lot of conversations between you and him, just figuring it out.
Yeah, it is definitely. I mean, you know, he's a big body. He's him and I similar weight, you know, around that 104, 102 mark. So, you know, he's always going to attract defenders, and he's like a bull at the gate, you know, even off the training pitch, you know, he's bloody intense, but you know, his ability to offload and attract defenders, you know, as a 12, that's, you know, that becomes your main role, and that's sort of becoming his role in our backline. You know, he is that crash bash with the ability to kick and offload. So he's doing it all for us at the moment, and it's cool to see.
And it's nice to see Rieko Ioane also acknowledging, you know, I'm sure there's a lot of competitiveness between these players, but acknowledging what he's doing and understanding that their roles are very different to me. I think, you know, Jordy is really the one to break the line. And I think having a Ioane next to him, with just playing off your shoulder, it's fabulous to have, you know, a guy that's just there with that kind of pace, because you'd have Jordy break the line, but that's always the question. When you've got a guy with size and pace that can break the line, you always want that outside centre to kind of have a good cohesion, but also be right there. So when that tackle is taken and there's the opportunity for the offload, that's where your opportunities for tries comes.
Crazy triple threat game he brings.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
And just on that, because I think where you guys have got to at the moment, and you're forecasting obviously with the World Cup coming up shortly, you see the French and the Irish. Yeah. The Irish came here last year and did a job when you was in the series. But where do you think where they're at is really important for you guys to be able to get it right? I'm thinking breakdown and your attacking kicks, which you guys have done really well in the past, two test matches. Are those the areas that you guys are concentrating on, knowing what's ahead? When
they did come last year, their breakdown was huge, and they were getting 2-second ball every ruck, if not quicker. The ability for their bigger boys, their tight forwards to ball play. Flat at the line with the backs they have, they came really well prepared, and I think they sort of modelled how the game was evolving, and now you see the likes of our big boys being able to do the same. We're fitter, faster, and as you said, I feel we're in a place where we're more physical, especially around that breakdown.
Well, yeah, obviously this was recorded before the loss against the Springboks, but I think let's put that aside, because we need to look at the bigger picture for the All Blacks. And if you look at the game before the last game of the Springboks, how good were they at the breakdown, the All Blacks? Now, to me, the only way that they, get out of their pool on the top is they have to be the best at the breakdown, clinical. They have to be there first. And if they come with that kind of fire, you can see an All Blacks team this year in the World Cup that could win it. But I'm so curious to see what kind of All Black team are we going to get in that first game, because obviously they'll be hurting coming off a loss, but also can we see the same as what we've seen before, where they are really, really quick to the breakdown? Because I think All Blacks rugby gets made by the breakdowns. If they can get quick ball from their breakdowns, they are such a dangerous team. But if they don't get that quick ball and they get slowed down in the breakdowns, it becomes a different game to them. I'm not saying that that's the do or die, but that is definitely the key. As soon as they start getting good front football and their forwards are performing really well, and you winning the breakdowns, then we see good All Black rugby.
You look at our forwards and the work they're doing. It's as a back, it's easy to play off, and as a line, I'm sure
100%.
You get to unleash the backs that you have with the forwards doing that.
Fitter and faster, Nick Gill in World Cup year. Do you have to temper him?
Yeah, look, if I'm having as little interaction with Gilly as possible, the year must be going pretty good. So, I think Gilly's been around a while, and he's a very knowledgeable man, and only recently he's found social media because he posts every week. But he's got a plan, and the boys every week we turn up, we're ready to play, and the body's hissing, ready to go.
You're one of the fastest guys out there. What do you do to maintain your speed, and how do you go about training to keep yourself at that level that you need to be, whether it's a standing 10 or a standing 40 or whatever it is?
I think it's definitely changed. When I was playing wing, I was sort of getting a lot of opportunity on field as well as at training. In actual games, I was getting chances to run, but at 13 now, the opportunities are, few and far between in a lot of games. But, as you said, working on that stuff during the week, and Gilly in particular, he's huge.
And that's one thing, if you think that speed is just speed and it's natural, but no, it's not. It can be trained, there's technique to it. And I'm sure these teams work on that. Measuring your first 40 meters is very important to see how is your pull away, from which leg are you kind of propelling yourself. There's a lot to it that can improve your acceleration and stuff.
On speed, and he's got all of our, if not all of our backs, even our nines going, 50 metres, or trying to reach that top end, because, the way the game's going, everyone sort of is expected to finish those 40-metre breaks, and I'll be like Brendan and I, and
mate. Oh, no, this guy, when you remember, he was so young. I remember when I was at the Blues, and sometimes when you run the positive line, that's about. You're just running in that sideline, and every single time it's quite easy to keep up with some players. But I remember Rico a couple of times would go on the outside, and he'd just break through the line, and I'm dragging, like trying to keep up with. This is when I was actually fast as well, and there's no way I was able to catch up with him. So when it comes to speed, there's not many faster. Maybe Will Jordan might be thinking a bit different, but you're pretty electric.
Will Jordan, is it?
I don't know, is he?
Is that the word going now?
I don't know. He does back himself as you know.
Yeah, like Jill's rapid. There's a few boys in the team that are flyers. I mean,
my opinion, Will Jordan is fast, but I think Rieko Ioane is faster in my opinion. I think also Jordan's style of running is very backwards, which, it's his style, but it definitely, I think, slows him down a bit, towards more leaning forward when you're running. I would probably think if these two had to do 100 meters, Rieko Ioane would win. Definitely over like a 40, I think Rieko Ioane's acceleration's got to be faster.
Yeah, basically
not taking anything away from Jordan.
Probably our 10s onwards, and probably I chuck Cam and Finn and the.
Cam's fast.
Nug is.
Cam Royot's fast. I saw that.
I think Finn's got him for speed, but so I chuck our 10s onwards. Everyone can move. So.
Yeah. You're backing yourself. Maybe Jordan second.
Oh look, I don't know.
I'm happy
there's no Olympics, so this is all just
no Olympics.
Just talks.
Now, mate, just wanted to.
But what I like is, that's the thing. You don't want to be, just before World Cup, be, stirring up issues by saying who's faster than who. I'm sure there is one guy who's faster than the other, and I've got a feeling Ioane is probably the fastest in the team. But he's got to be modest. He's wearing the All Black jersey. You've got to respect your fellow players.
We've had a lot of code. This is obviously a code show. I'm going to take it a little bit lighter. You still into your shoes? Because if I remember correctly, when I was younger, you used to wait in line for the shoe label. Obviously, you're now a little bit more world known. You're getting this for free now, are you? Those shoes are not lining up at 12 o'clock at night.
Nah, honestly, I still enjoy the thrill of it, but definitely not lining up. But look, I was a big sneakerhead, and obviously now,
I love my sneakers as well. I gotta say, it's a bad addiction to get into.
Everything I wear is Adidas. So,
when it comes to free now,
I'm just grateful. Hand up, not
imagine how much I saw the other day. I saw a video. I can't remember who was the person. Was it Ethan de Groot? It was someone. No. It was it Tamati Williams? It was someone. Was new in the team, and they were showing how they were getting all the freebies of Adidas stuff, and it was a lot of stuff they were putting in that bag. And it's like, I'll take from my dad, I'll take from my mom. And so it's pretty cool. I mean, getting all that free gear.
All right, what else keeps you going? Like, we've talked a lot of golf today. You're not into golf?
Oh, nah, not as much as the other boys, and I'm sure you've had a few that love it, but. Yeah, look, honestly,
I thought he would be a golfer. He looks like he could be good at golf.
Even if we get a week off or two, it's just myself at home. I've got, my partner there. I've got my dog and my 2 cats, and it's enough for me. And so
actually super chill.
Basically at home, out at the beach or not.
He's 26 years old, and you've done so much Centurion.
26.
60 test matches. You're probably going to be going close.
Guys, I'm shocked. I can't believe he's only 26. I mean, this guy's got then at least one more World Cup, probably 2 more World Cups to come. I mean, with all this experience, what he's going to mean for the All Blacks still in the future is insane. I don't realize he's only 26. So it shows you when he really was coming up, he was only like 20 or whatever, 21 or 22. So, man, it's experience All Black that will just keep developing.
To be a centurion as an All Black, obviously, with how long you've signed. What are your goals? What do you obviously want to win a World Cup? But you've got 4 years. You've committed to New Zealand.
Yeah.
What do you want to do before you end your career here in New Zealand?
I guess everyone's goal is to bring home that trophy. But outside of the All Blacks environment, look, I just want to be the best player I sort of can be, and obviously I want to get that super title, that especially back home. So. Those are probably the two immediate goals. But then outside of that, there's going to be other things that.
Yeah.
Loads of opportunities will come up.
A couple of years.
You've been an All Black.
That would have changed by then, but.
You get a lot of opportunities.
It's mature, man. It's mature since when I was with him. Love it. Love it.
26. He's been in the game for like 7 or 8 years.
It seems like he's 30, but he's 26, still in his prime.
Like I'm 30.
What I liked about it is, sometimes Rieko Ioane looks like a different guy on the field. He looks like he could have a little bit of an attitude, if you could put it that. But then you see he's just a true guy. He's just, on weekends he chills more than anything. And he's actually a pretty relaxed, chilled guy. I think that's his way to express himself on the field, is by going really you've seen the way that he'll celebrate. He really has got, he makes his presence felt. But he's an awesome player, and man, loved watching this. If you enjoyed watching it with me, hit the subscribe button. I'm going to catch you in the next one. Thanks so much for watching, guys.